Hello everyone, this is Sandra at the Whispering Well. So today's video is going to be having a look at the bits and pieces that I picked up at the weekend from my trip into London when I met up with the lovely Richard over at Longman Tarot. It was the third time we'd met. We met first at Glastonbury and it's the second time meeting in London. So it was really nice. We were really lucky with the weather. The weather was so nice and it was lovely and sunny that day. Richard did have a bit of a nightmare getting to London because of some problems with the trains, but at least he was able to make it in the end, so that was the main thing. We went into Watkins, of course, and we visited the Atlantis Bookshop over in Museum Street, which is near the British Museum, and they're celebrating 100 years of the shop this year. So I mean, it's amazing that it's been there that long. And Geraldine and Barley who run the shop, I think it was Barley's father that actually bought the business back whenever, and Geraldine, her mum, was in the shop when we went on Saturday, and also Barley as well, and they're so lovely and helpful and chatty. It's just really nice. It's like going into one of those really old-fashioned shops, and you know, the person standing behind the till is like really chatty and nice, and you know, it's just like going into a shop from a long time ago, plus the age of the building. And there's all the history with Aleister Crowley used to go there, and apparently used to sit in all his robes and things, obviously for the effect that it caused for people to see him like that, I would imagine. But yeah, they've got loads of really brilliant books. They have decks, other different bits and pieces, like they'll do incense and some statues and things like that. But it's just so nice to go in there, and it's just like the whole smell of the place. But also Watkins is a very old shop as well, and that one is just great to go in. And like if you go downstairs, it's all books downstairs, but if you do, the stairs are all creaky and everything when you go down there. And I just love the feel of going in there, and again the smell of it when you first walk in. And you know, they have this whole wall of decks. So yeah, just it's worth for me it's worth going into London just for those two shops. And if I ever go into London on my own, which I don't very much now, but if I do, those would be the two places I would go. But Richard and I had lunch as well. I was a bit naughty really because I'm back on Slimming World, but I did have pizza and I had tiramisu, but oh my god, was it nice. But now I am back on plan, need to lose the weight. So yeah, so it was a really lovely day, but I will show you a few things that I picked up. Now the first item is Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery. Now I used to have this deck, the first edition, that was just in the cardboard tuck box, but I wanted to get this edition in the nice sort of cloth box, because this would probably be my favourite of Robert M. Place's decks. My second favourite probably be the Vampire Tarot, but this one, so I wanted to get this, and I managed to sell my other copy that was in the tuck box. So for this whole trip I had to save for it, you know. Any sort of trips like that, I can't just, like a lot of us can't just go to these places and spend loads of money or whatever just like that. I do have to save, you know, to buy these things. So this is like several months of saving for this trip, because you know I knew in advance we were going to be doing it, and I had to save, because for me I couldn't like go up to London and go into some of these shops and not have any money, even if it's not loads of money, but there's always something that you see, and you can just imagine if you didn't have the money, that's when you would see things that you wanted. So, but what I did, I had a list on my phone of items that I wanted to try and get if I saw them. So they were all things that were on my wish list anyway. And this Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery was one of them. So as you can see, it's still shrink wrapped and everything, because this is just a sort of show and tell, just showing what I purchased at the weekend. But I will do separate walkthroughs of the decks. I know there's other walkthroughs of this, but you know, I can still do one. That'll be fine. And they had all of Robert M. Place's decks in there. The box for the Alchemical Tarot is a lovely dark blue, really nice colour, but it's not one of my favourites, so I thought, no, not going to get that, because you know that, you know, nothing now is cheap though, is it? But these really are like indie decks, so you know, you do pay a little bit more for them. But saying that, the price of this, I could pay what I paid for this on a mass market on Amazon. It has happened. I've seen decks for the same price of this and more on Amazon before. So, you know, so that was the first thing. The second deck, now I thought that this wouldn't really be one for me, but it was on my list because I've seen a couple of walkthroughs of it. It's quite a recent one to be released, and it's the Relative Tarot by Carrie, and all, from what I understand, because obviously I've not opened it yet, all of the pictures are of actual people. They're like old photographs of actual people, and I think that's why she's called it the Relative Tarot. And this can be used in a slightly different way. Obviously you can use it as a normal tarot deck, but she explains in the book how you can use this in a different way, kind of like ancestor work or that type of thing. So we can have a look at the back. So this is what it's like on the back. And what she's done with these, as you can see, you've got like actual photographs of people, but she's then put the RWS symbolism onto it as well. If you can see that without it going, like you've got the sun here, you've got the robes of the Hierophant there, and you see we've got a pentacle. So she's kind of still used Pixie's artwork to a point in this. So, and on the back, I love this card. On the back it says, discover your true potential by connecting with your beloved ancestors. This spirited tarot includes a deck rich in vintage photographs from a wide array of ethnic origins and various walks of life. The ancestors come together to provide not only answers, but also resolution, evolution, truth and transcendence. They are here to help illuminate that deeper meaning that may or may not have eluded them in life. This is a tarot that offers wisdom from the spirit realm. The accompanying full-colour book guides readers on how to navigate life's lessons by calculating their tarot blueprint, personal birth card and annual card. See, I think that's so interesting. It's so cool. And, you know, this is what drew me to it, as well as the actual artwork. The fact that actual photographs have been used is that it tells you how you can calculate these things, which I think is really cool. Inspired by the works of Mary K. Greer and the late Angeles Arion, Carrie Paris also discusses shadow cards, karmic cards, and how the minor arcana represents the way our life lessons have materialised on the physical plane through the initiations, tests, and lessons unique to each suit. Who am I? What have I come here to do? How do I find my soul's truth? These questions seem so simple, and the answers so essential to our experience of happiness, wellness, and success. The dedicated seeker knows the answers aren't readily available. They're elusive, often found in silence. In deep reflection, they're written in the voices of our ancestors. And this set contains 82 cards and a full colour guidebook. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to sort of getting into this. And as I say, this isn't the usual for me, because normally I don't like photographic decks or decks where photographs are used, which is why I was kind of surprised at myself that I did like this. But as I say, it is a little bit different to just normal photographic decks. And you've got, you know, the fact that, you know, your tarot blueprint, birth card, annual card, you can calculate all this. And I do like that she's used elements from the RWS in this. So yeah, so that was the relative tarot. And honestly, I knew that this was on my list, and there was a man up on the section where the tarot decks are, and he'd like put all his like luggage and things right in the front of the shelves nearest to the counter. And I was like, oh, you can't see, because I knew this would be a bigger set, and I knew that if they had it, it would be on the bottom shelf. So in the end, I just kind of moved his suitcase over a little bit just so I could see, and I could just about see the edge of the box but couldn't quite see what it said. And I thought, I'm sure, I just had this thing, that is the relative tarot, that's the relative. So I just moved his suitcase a little bit and just pulled the deck out, and yeah, it was it. I was like, yes, I knew it was there. But yeah, luckily he didn't seem to mind. I mean, I didn't like move his things right out of the way, but I did think, what a place to put your things, right in front of decks that people might want to look at. But anyway, never mind. I still managed to retrieve it. So that was that one. And then I did get a third deck, and this one, to be fair, again, this was on my wish list, but I basically got this for £6 because I had Watkins do these stamp cards, so each time you spend £10 you get a stamp, and when you've got a full card you get £10 off. So I had a full card, so I got £10 off of my complete purchases. So basically I got this one for £6, so I think that was pretty good really. But this one was on my wish list because it's the Tree Magic Oracle deck by Jillian Kemp, and you know me and trees, and I thought, oh, I've got to have that. And just look at the cuteness of this little owl in the tree. But it includes 52 cards and a 64-page illustrated book, and you can kind of see some of the cards on the side. And it's obviously got writing, but as I say, I will do a proper walkthrough. And this is by Chico Books. I'm never over keen on their packaging. You know, it looks nice, you take this part off, but the way the cards and book are in there, it's usually awkward to get the cards back in. But you know, it's fine. It's whatever. it's a box. So yeah, so this is how the cards kind of look. And obviously it's got the name of the tree, and there's a word underneath that, and there's obviously some writing here. So it says on the back, 52 magical messages drawn from the world of trees. It says, trees are spiritual guardians of ancient wisdom and possess legendary powers of healing and insight. As intermediaries between heaven and earth, they can convey messages from both realms. Enchanting to look at and inspirational to use, this box set includes 52 beautiful cards and an accompanying 64-page illustrated book that provides interpretations for all the cards and describes how to lay them out for a reading. Use the messages you receive as affirmations for meditation and protection and to predict the future. And then it tells you a little bit about Jillian Kemp there. So that is another one that I'm kind of looking forward to, because I love anything to do with trees, and most tree decks, if a tree deck comes out, I usually get it if I like the look of it. I mean, obviously if I really didn't like the artwork, then I wouldn't, but mostly they tend to be really nice. So that was what I purchased in Watkins. And then when we went to Atlantis Bookshop, I just bought 2 books. Now, one of the books is Natural Magic by Doreen Valiente. I have a couple of her books already. I have Witchcraft for Tomorrow, The Rebirth of Witchcraft, and I think I have another one as well. And, you know, she was Gerald Gardner's High Priestess. So Gerald Gardner, that they always call the father of witchcraft, or the father of Wicca, which most people will have heard of. And I didn't have the Natural Magic one, so I decided to pick this up. But what's really strange, this book I've had for some time. This I did not purchase there. I've had this for a while, and I've read it several times. And this is Doreen Valiente Witch, and this is her on the front. When I first saw this book advertised in a magazine and I saw her face, it was like I knew her. It was really, really strange. And even now, every time I look at her, I just think, I know you. So it is really strange that, and I'm always drawn to her books, even though they were written in the 50s, 60s, and stuff. But it's still really cool to read them. And this one is about her life. And like I say, I've read it several times. I really love it. So, and this is one that she wrote, called Natural Magic. So I think this is one of their second-hand books. It was like $8.99, but I don't mind second-hand, and it's in decent condition. And then, you know, they give you a bookshop, so that's their address, and has got their website on there and Facebook. So if you did want, you know, there's a telephone number as well, because you can call them, you can email, send messages if there's something that you're particularly looking for, and they will help you as much as possible to try and get it. They are really good. Like I say, it's Geraldine and Barley that run the shop, so it's mother and daughter, and they are really, really lovely to talk to. So there was that one. And the final thing I bought was another book that I've seen on Amazon, and I've looked at it several times and thought, shall I, shan't I? And I saw it on Saturday and thought, right, I'm going to get it. And this is The Crooked Path, An Introduction to Traditional Witchcraft by Keldon. And the foreword is by Gemma Gary, which a lot of people will know. She's written several books herself, usually for Troy Books. I've got a couple of books by her that have been published by Troy Books, and she's really, really good, really knowledgeable about traditional witchcraft. And I'm just interested to read this. I mean, I usually say that I'm more eclectic, which I am, because it's like I use like a bit of Wicca, a bit of Druidry, and a little bit of traditional witchcraft, but not to the point of using like pigs' hearts and things like that for things like some things call for. I don't do any of that, but I probably use elements of it. But it's always really interesting to read because my great grandmother was what you would have called a cunning woman, witch, etc. And so I always like think of her whenever I think of like traditional witchcraft. And I remember as a kid I was actually scared of her. Yeah, she just was like, it wasn't really that she was scary to look at, but she just had this kind of stern look to her and that, and you know, kids are like, oh god. So she was a bit scary, but I only met her a couple of times. But yeah, so guys, that was all of my things, and I know it does look like quite a lot, but as I say, I did save up for this, because, you know, this will be my last purchase of decks for some time now. So I knew this was going to be my last kind of splurge on decks. So that's why I had a list of like the ones that I wanted to try and pick up, because yeah, it's probably, I've got to kind of be on a, I suppose, like a no buy as regards decks for a while anyway. So, but yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing this. Is there anything there that you think you might like, or that you might like to pick up yourselves? Let me know, and as I say, I will do walkthroughs of all the decks. I hope everyone is doing well, and we're now starting to get towards the warmer weather, which is really nice. Summer is approaching, so that's really good. And yeah, I will talk to you all soon. Bye.